Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. It's Friday, which means another crypto interest rates and news update. Today is the 10th of December 2021. And first of all, apologies that I didn't get the video out last week. I was under the weather. Now, I'm still not 100%, so apologies for my croaky voice. And if I break into kind of coughing fit or anything like that, apologies. I'll try and kind of pause the video and restart it where necessary. But I'm going to do this a little bit shorter than normal just because, you know, I have been a little bit under the weather and yeah, it's bit of a sore throat makes it quite difficult to record these videos, particularly when I mess up and have to re-record them a few times. But I really just wanted to get a couple of bits out because there's some really big news last week, particularly the Celsius hack or the Celsius involvement in the Badger DAO hack. So we'll talk about that in a minute, and we've got some more positive news also from Nexus and stuff like that. So as always, we start by looking at interest rate changes and any new coins. Now, I'm not sure if 2 weeks ago the new coins in Celsius had been announced. That's Wrapped, Bitcoin and Tezos, but they're now available. So 3.05% for Wrapped Bitcoin. Tezos is down here somewhere. I can't actually see it. There it is there. So 4.25 for US and international users, and a little bit more, 5.33 if it's paid in Cell. Again, 3.05, 3.83 for Wrapped Bitcoin if it's paid in Celsius tokens. I have updated some of the other ones, Swissborg rates and a few other bits and pieces, but this weekend I will be going through and making sure everything is up to date because, as I said, I've been a little bit out of it for the last kind of couple of weeks, so I want to make sure that this is up to date. If you do see any inaccuracies or any coins that are missing that have been added recently, do let me know and I'll get those added as soon as possible. And moving on, so we'll take a quick glance at the token prices. Let's just refresh this page. We've got the latest figures. As you can see here, Bitcoin currently trading at $49,000. It's had you know, turbulent kind of couple of weeks. We've seen some good increases and decreases. It's been a pretty turbulent time over the last few weeks. Currently trading, as I said, just over $49,000. It was under 48 earlier this morning, but it's recovering a kind of little bit. But with this massive kind of sell-off, wicked down to I think about $42,000, and then we've been basically trading sideways. We've had a couple of little moves up, but we've basically been trading sideways within a little bit of a range for the last 7 days. So Bitcoin down 13% over the last 7 days. Crypto.com down 15.3, broadly in line. Nexo 16.3, again roughly in line, and Yield App 17.8. Roughly in line, a little bit kind of more there. Swissborg's had a good week, outperforming Bitcoin by about 50%. But Celsius, the standout performer. It's bizarre to say a standout performer when it's down 0.5% on the last 7 days. But Celsius has been nothing in terms of their token price, but bad news for the last few weeks. And I think last week it had another big dip down because of the kind of like the Badger DAO hack. So it may well be that this is just recovering some of the losses from the previous week, but at least something vaguely positive for Celsius token holders to hold on to. But $3.96, it must be down about 50% from its all-time high, somewhere in the region of that. And then moving on to the story, so the really big story, and obviously I would have been covering this last week, so it broke the middle of last week, so that's about 10 days ago, but basically Badger DAO was hacked for 115 million of digital assets, of which it's believed that Celsius Network, originally it was quoted about 50 million, I think the latest update is about 54 million, as kind of quoted here. But essentially, they extracted 896 wrapped Bitcoin from a MetaMask wallet used by Celsius Network to interact with the Badger DAO website. So it was a front-end hack. It was a front-end hack. It wasn't a back-end hack. And that also, I read, meant that Nexus Mutual. So a lot of people buy insurance through Nexus Mutual for hacks and other things like this on various websites. But obviously, they only cover you for a certain number of things. And I believe Nexus Mutual, do let me know if I'm incorrect here, but I remember reading that Nexus Mutual said this is a front-end hack and we don't kind of cover that. So even if you did have insurance for some of these things, I'm not saying that if you're a Celsius user you would have lost any money or anything like that, but if you do lose money in DeFi and you have got insurance, depending on exactly what was hacked, how the money was kind of lost, will depend on whether you actually kind of like get paid out on that kind of insurance. So I think sometimes people aren't aware of that. They jump into Nexus Mutual thinking it will cover them for all eventualities, and it doesn't. So just make sure if you are using it that you are aware of what it does and doesn't cover you for. But this was obviously a massive kind of hack, 54 million. I believe somebody did some statistics working out that Celsius was making about 4 million a week in profits. I don't know if that is at all accurate, but if that was accurate, we're talking a good few months worth of kind of profits just immediately down the drain. Now Celsius have admitted that they did lose money in this hack, but they haven't confirmed the actual kind of figures. It took them a little while to kind of admit to it. Some people were a bit salty about that. I think in some ways you want to be quite proactive and try and get a response out as soon as possible. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you don't start putting out kind of false information, which could be even worse than just putting out information a little bit delayed. But it was addressed, I believe, on last week's AMA. Massive amount of money taken. This was quite bizarre. So you see these kind of tweets from Celsius Network. So Celsius Network is assisting the Badger team on the resolution and return of its funds. Our security team initiated a full scan of all Celsius DeFi wallets. We identified a compromised withdrawal and immediately shut down the attacker's access. But that was obviously after they made off with $54 million or so of funds, and obviously you would expect them to shut down access after that. It does open a lot of questions about what they're doing just using MetaMask to interact with some of these kind of platforms with that amount of money. No hardware kind of wallets, no second kind of authentication or anything like that. Does make you wonder, and I think a lot of Celsius has a lot of kind of fanboys that think it's the best thing since sliced bread, but they have been panned, I think, a few times for their kind of slightly slapdash kind of attitude to kind of risk, rehypothecation of loans and stuff like that. One of their companies, one of their kind of partners, stopped working with them, didn't they, in New York a few months ago as well, because they just thought the risk was kind of too high. So they're the first people to jump on everyone else, and I think this is in some ways why people are quite happy to kind of call out Celsius when things go wrong, because Alex in particular, he spends every week on his AMAs bashing BlockFi and other kind of companies about how their rates are going down, and then suddenly Celsius rates are going down, about how BlockFi was kind of hacked, their marketing hack, for example, a while ago, and then something like this happens. I think it's pretty bad form to spend your time bashing the opposition or the competition rather than actually kind of bigging up your own kind of achievements. I don't like that about Alex in particular on the Celsius kind of network. It's a little bit immature. I think it doesn't really beset someone of his kind of position in charge of such a large company. But it'll be interesting to see whether any of this does actually get kind of like retrieved. There have been hacks in the past where the kind of hackers have been they've been kind of discovered, they've been forced to kind of return some of these funds, but we will find out exactly what happens, no doubt, in the fullness of time. According to this, they'll give an official statement on Friday. I believe this was last Friday. No, actually, this is December the 8th, so maybe there's going to be another announcement today in the AMA. I will catch up with that later and see that, and we can talk about that a little bit more next week. But yeah, a little bit kind of worrying. Big amount of money to be losing for a platform like Celsius. And then moving on to some better news here, we have Nexo. So if you have been holding XRP on Nexo's platform, and in particular a year ago essentially, so on the 12th of December 2021, basically there was a snapshot taken, and if you were holding XRP on Nexo's platform, you're now eligible for the airdrop for Songbird and XFi. Now XFi is a very recent airdrop, but the Songbird came out a few months ago, and I think a lot of exchanges have been sort of held up to a little bit of criticism for not giving the airdrops away to the users, but this is something that Nexo will now be doing. So long time coming, but good on them for doing it. Be very pleased for a lot of people holding XRP on Nexo's platform that they will now get their full Songbird and XFi airdrops. And if you have been holding XRP, they will reach out directly to you. They'll send you a type form that will come directly from Nexo, from the Nexo support. So only make sure you don't kind of like just type your details into something kind of online that you kind of found. It will come directly from contact with kind of Nexo themselves. As always, if anybody sends you anything, do make sure it's an official form or anything like that. Don't be tapping in details into something you just found on the internet. But really nice to see that Songbird, which I actually was holding my XRP on an external wallet, so I've actually kind of received this a few months ago, and I've been staking this. But if you haven't done it yet, they will be in contact and you can get your Songbird and XFi airdrops in the foreseeable future, certainly probably in the next week or so. And then sticking with Nexo, they have now launched a loyalty program for the exchange, so you can get 0.5% cash back. Now, it must be said this is a maximum of 0.5%, and it depends on the tier that you are currently in. If we scroll down a little bit further, you can see silver tiers will get a cashback rate of 0.1%, gold 0.25%, and platinum tier 0.5%. And this is for transactions on the exchange. They have been adding a lot of trading pairs to the exchange recently. So nice to see. I think there were another 14 pairs added in the last week or so, but up to 0.5. If you're a base level user, I don't believe you'll be entitled to any cashback. But you can check out the full information here. Links, as always, in the description below. And then another Nexo story. This, I think, came out last week, but I kind of missed it then. They have currently offering 0% borrowing rates for very low loan to value loans on the Nexo platform. So zero interest when your loan to value is below 20%, 1.9% when it's below 20% for gold users. Sorry, I should say 0% for platinum users when their loan to value is below 20, 1.9% for gold users loan to value below 20, and there are various other things. So again, it's a really nice kind of rate if you're tied into the Nexo ecosystem. If you hold a lot of Nexo tokens, so you're one of the higher tiers, might be a nice platform to borrow on. I know Celsius in the past have offered 0% on, I think, some 25% loan to value rates in various countries. I think the UK was one of those. I've never actually taken a loan from Celsius, but I know they have been offering that in the past, and I think a few other platforms for very low loan to values have offered very, very low rates, like 1%, 0 to 1%, something like that. But if you're looking for a rate and you're tied into the Nexo ecosystem, may be worth having a look at their rates. And then finally, I got this email from crypto.com, and this is something which they're just launching. So it's basically a global VIP program for their exchange. Now, crypto.com has by far the best and largest exchange of all these kind of platforms that they cover. It is a genuine, legitimate exchange, rather than I think kind of platforms like Nexo and BlockFi and Ledn, where it's essentially just a swap function within it. It's not a proper kind of trade, a proper exchange. But crypto.com have by far the largest proper decent kind of exchange in this industry, within kind of like lending providers, and they are now offering this new global VIP. So this is for basically very high volume traders. So if you're a high volume trader on crypto.com, you can reach out to them here. Again, you can find the email. They would have emailed you if you are eligible to kind of like join up, but you can basically just email vip@crypto.com to apply for the global VIP program. They'll then analyze your trading volume in December, and if you're eligible, you will get the benefits on the 8th of January going forward. So you can click into this page here to learn about all their different kind of tiers and benefits and stuff like that. But if you are a high volume user on crypto.com, you might want to reach out to them and see if you are entitled to some of those kind of bonuses of the global VIP program. Now, the last thing I just wanted to say, obviously it's been very, very volatile, the price of Bitcoin over the last kind of couple of weeks. If you do have crypto-backed loans, make sure you keep on top of your loan to values. Certainly I've had emails from both Ledn and Nexo with kind of like best practices. Quite nice to kind of see sort of like gentle reminders that, if your loan to value goes over a certain amount, you are required to top them up. And looking at the Ledn one now, I believe they've tweaked their system. So if you have B2X loans or just crypto-backed loans with Ledn, you can do an instant transfer between your Bitcoin savings account or USDC savings account, I think probably as well, into those loans. So you can top them up instantly. It takes 5 or 10 seconds. So you're not waiting to deposit kind of like a crypto onto the exchange, maybe wait quite a while for things to kind of confirm. So if you do hold additional kind of Bitcoin in the Bitcoin savings account and you are required to top up your loans, you can do that pretty much instantly in Ledn. And I believe you'll get an email with Ledn and Nexo at 70% loan to value. If you reach 80%, they will liquidate your positions and use some of your kind of Bitcoin to repay that position in full. So just make sure you are on top of your loan to values, particularly during these kind of like pullbacks and pretty turbulent kind of like market conditions. But that's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching. As always, managed to get through it without a coughing fit, which is fantastic. I'm going to go and have a lem sip. Look after yourselves. Have a great day. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video. But until then, take care. Bye bye.